Mr. Mishra, thank you for joining in on CNN News 18. I'd firstly like to ask you and begin by asking you, what are the contents of your letter? What is it that you have brought to the forefront by penning that letter to the CJI?
No, see, the background under which we have written that letter.
Yes.
A handful of lawyers who always want to actually create such problems and to take the Supreme Court in their own hands. This was in reaction to and in response to that letter only. Some of the lawyers who are actually entangled, involved in some political activities with some of the political parties, they always try to browbeat the Supreme Court. They target some of the judges, and the very objectionable word they have used is bench fixing. They want that the bench should be fixed as per their own choice. And whenever Supreme Court or any judge refuses to succumb to their own pressure, they issue such statements, they try to create such problems, and they try to malign the image of our judiciary, our Supreme Court. That's why we said that our Supreme Court, under the leadership of Dr. D.Y. Chanchud, is doing very well. It works independently, and no pressure, no undue pressure can actually succumb our judiciary, and therefore we have issued that letter. 600 people, 600 lawyers have signed that letter.
Right. Mr. Mishra, you've talked about various pressure tactics used by these political parties. I believe one of them also happens to be the Congress party of our nation. The letter also goes on to say that such pressure tactics are damaging the democratic fabric of our nation and that they're also threatening the judiciary of our country. May I ask you, what do you mean by these kind of pressure tactics that are being resorted to by the political parties?
You are writing a letter to Chief Justice of India, and then you are making it viral through social media. You are trying to malign the image of our judiciary, our Supreme Court, some of the particular judges you are targeting, meaning thereby that you are trying to create a pressure tactics upon the judiciary. When a corrupt politician, action is taken by ED or CBI against that politician, you move the Supreme Court, and when you see that you are not going to get a favorable judgment or favorable order then you write a letter to Supreme Court CJ and also make it viral. What is this?
Mr. Mishra, I'd like to know your thoughts on what the Prime Minister has just tweeted. He said that 5 decades ago itself, the Congress party had called for a committed judiciary. They shamelessly wanted commitment from others for their selfish interests, but desist from any commitment towards the nation. I'd like your thoughts.
We fully agree with the Honorable Prime Minister. He has rightly said, we can remember the days when the Congress tried to create pressure upon our judiciary. We have not forgotten that day. And these people connected with some of the political parties, including Congress, again they are doing the same thing. But fortunately, we have got a very strong and good justice today. He cannot succumb to any such sort of pressure.
All right, many thanks to you, Mr. Mishra, for joining in on CNN News 18. On that note, let's quickly go back to... In fact, we are joined in by one of the other lawyers who also penned down that letter. Mr. Chetan Mittal is joining us on the phone line. Mr. Mittal, I'd like to know your thoughts with regards to whatever has been penned by the senior lawyers, including Shri Harish Salveji, and of course what the Prime Minister today is saying in context of that letter.
Actually, what we all have written, the Chief Justice of India, is the constant practice which is being adopted inside the court and outside the court, which we have quoted that it's my way or the highway. The unfortunate part is that the judiciary, if decides some matter in favor of a political person, then they keep mum. If they don't decide as per their wishes, some of the lawyers which are constantly being seen inside the outside the court, they have started blaming the judiciary as a whole, that there's something wrong in the judiciary. And then they will compare this judiciary with the golden era, which they, inverted commas, they always say that there was some golden era, without realizing that the judiciary today, the kind of under pressure the judiciary is working, and the kind of things which are being said, there's nothing exists in past. The only idea of these lawyers and the lobby of lawyers is to create pressure on the judiciary to get swayed by their own ideas, or they want some decision in their own favor. So we, all lawyers, I was not aware of the number has swollen to 600 people, advocates throughout India, but it's a very good thing. We are reassuring the Chief Justice of India that we are not here criticizing this kind of tactics being adopted for their own political gains. And our judiciary as of today is the best judiciary in the world. So any attempt to tarnish their image is politically motivated. That is the crux of the entire letter which we have written to CJI.
Absolutely. Also, Mr. Mittal, I'd like to understand better, perhaps you can explain, when we talk about how the judiciary is working as an independent body, of course, the opposition has the right to free speech, and whenever they are making an attack on the government at the center, the fact of the matter is that the judiciary's decisions always come to be questioned whenever the government at the center is being attacked, and henceforth the dichotomy between an independent judiciary and an executive is very important to establish at the moment for the highest court of the country.
Absolutely, I agree with you. But the constant effort, we were really pained, and all of us, we were waiting for such a long time that what is happening. And we only wanted to point out to the judiciary that the right-thinking people in the society, in the advocates, think otherwise. Because the judiciary cannot come out and speak openly. They are being constantly attacked outside on social media and on every platform once the decision doesn't go in their favor. And I call it a lobby of lawyers, which belongs to some political parties, or they are representing certain political personalities or some idea. Once we have a judiciary under the constitution, if the judiciary decide one way or the other way, as a lawyer, our duty is to accept it. But the unfortunate part is that is also being criticized selectively. If it goes in favor of government, then they criticize. If it doesn't go in their favor, then they criticize. So this is the entire idea of the writing the letter to the CJI.